Inside the futuristic, glass-walled office that served as Elon Musk's think tank, the atmosphere was unusually quiet. A single sheet of paper lay on his desk. A summary of customer feedback for his newest acquisition, Liberty Plaza. While most reports celebrated its opulence, a troubling pattern emerged. Some customers described feeling unwelcome. Others recounted humiliating encounters with staff members. The tone of these complaints was sharp. This mall caters only to the wealthy. Elon leaned back in his chair, staring at the city skyline. He had revolutionized industries, space travel, electric cars, even social media. Yet, this challenge felt deeply personal. How could I fix this? He wondered. The idea came suddenly, almost absurdly. What if I saw it for myself? Not as the Elon Musk people know, but as someone they might overlook. He paced the room, voicing his thoughts. If the staff sees me as just another customer, their true attitudes will come out. I need to know exactly how they treat people. His chief of staff, sitting across the room, looked up skeptically. Sir, this seems extreme. Couldn't we just hire secret shoppers? No, Elon said firmly, his eyes blazing with determination. This isn't about data. It's about experience. If we want to understand the soul of this place, I need to walk through it as an outsider. But his team exchanged glances. One assistant finally ventured. What happens if they don't recognize you? Elon smirked. That's the point. The next morning, Elon stood before a mirror, almost unrecognizable. His transformation was the result of meticulous effort. Gone was his iconic presence, replaced by a figure who looked like he'd fallen on hard times. The hoodie he wore was tattered, with loose threads hanging at the edges. His jeans were faded, with patched holes, and his sneakers had soles that seemed barely attached. His stylist handed him a scruffy fake beard. This should seal the look, she said, hesitant. Elon applied it carefully, stepping back to inspect himself. The mirror reflected someone who looked like he belonged on the fringes of society. Perfect, he muttered. As he prepared to leave, his assistant tried one last time. You know this could backfire, right? If anyone finds out who you are. Elon cut her off. Then they'll see exactly why this needed to happen. This isn't about me. It's about the people we're supposed to serve. Before stepping out the door, he grabbed a tattered baseball cap and adjusted it low over his face. Let's do this. As Elon approached Liberty Plaza, he paused to take it in. The towering glass structure gleamed in the morning sunlight, an architectural masterpiece. Inside, the polished marble floors sparkled, reflecting the light of elaborate chandeliers. The scent of freshly brewed coffee and expensive cologne wafted through the air. He walked up to the main entrance, only to be stopped by a stern-faced security guard. The man, tall and imposing, eyed Elon suspiciously. "Excuse me, sir," the guard said, his voice firm. "Can I help you?" Elon adjusted his cap. "Just here to look around," he said casually. The guard's eyes swept over Elon's worn-out clothes and weathered sneakers. "Look around. Do you have a reason to be here?" Elon raised an eyebrow. "Isn't this a mall? Do I need a reason?" The guard hesitated, clearly uncomfortable but unwilling to relent. "We don't usually allow loitering." Elon chuckled softly. "I'm not loitering, I'm a customer. Or is that not allowed?" With a sigh, the guard reluctantly stepped aside. As Elon entered, he could feel the weight of countless judgmental stares. Shoppers glanced at him out of the corners of their eyes, some whispering behind their hands. Elon's first stop was a boutique renowned for its exclusive collections. The store was a visual feast. Racks of designer clothing, sparkling jewelry, and minimalist decor that screamed luxury. He wandered in, running his fingers over a sleek leather jacket. A sales associate appeared almost instantly, her high heels clicking on the marble floor. Her smile was icy, her eyes scanning him from head to toe. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone dripping with skepticism. "Yes," Elon said, holding up the jacket. "This is nice. How much is it?" She smirked. "That's 5,000. Are you sure you're looking for something in this price range?" Elon met her gaze. Isn't it your job to help all customers?" The saleswoman hesitated, her practiced smile faltering. "Of course. But our clientele is exclusive. We don't usually cater to." She stopped herself, but the implication was clear. "I see," Elon said, setting the jacket back on the rack. As he turned to leave, he caught her muttering to a colleague, "Why let people like that in here?" Elon entered the mall's flagship electronics store next, drawn by the rows of cutting-edge gadgets. He picked up a top-tier smartphone from a display, admiring its sleek design. "Sir," an employee said sharply, rushing over. "Please don't touch the merchandise." Elon raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that the point of a display?" The employee crossed his arms. "Our products aren't for casual browsing." Elon tilted his head, feigning confusion. I thought that's exactly what displays were for." "Or do you only let certain people browse?" The employee's tone grew more condescending. "Look, if you're not buying, maybe you should move along. This isn't a museum." Hungry, Elon headed to the food court. He chose a burger joint, placing a simple order. When he handed the cashier a crumpled bill, she gave him a withering look. "Are you serious?" she said, barely suppressing a laugh. "Wes," Elon replied, his patience thinning. She shook her head, rolling her eyes. "People like you always try to scam us." Elon stared at her. "I'm not scamming anyone. I'm paying for a burger." She slapped the tray down in front of him. "Fine, but don't cause any trouble." The final straw came at the jewelry store. Before he could even admire the displays, the manager stormed over. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave," the manager said coldly. "Why?" Elon asked, genuinely confused. "This store is for serious buyers," the manager snapped, "not loiterers." Elon's temper finally broke. "Do you even know who I am?" The manager smirked. "I know enough to know you don't belong here." But Elon stood frozen for a moment, staring at the jewelry store manager. The weight of the day's events pressed heavily on him. Everywhere he turned, he'd been met with contempt, suspicion, or outright hostility. The vision of Liberty Plaza he'd cherished. An inclusive, welcoming space for people of all backgrounds. Shattered before his eyes. "You're sure about that?" Elon asked calmly, his voice steady despite the storm brewing inside him. The manager sneered. "I'm more than sure. Now, unless you want security to escort you out, I suggest you leave." The threat wasn't lost on Elon. He turned and walked out of the store, but not before glancing around at the other staff members, who were openly whispering and smirking. As he walked through the mall's pristine corridors, his mind raced. The polished facade of Liberty Plaza hid a rotting core, and he'd seen it firsthand. Elon left the mall without fanfare, returning to his car parked discreetly nearby. He peeled off the fake beard, tossed the cap aside, and dialed his assistant. "Get every department head from Liberty Plaza on a conference call," he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. "No." Back at his office, the call commenced. The managers appeared confident, unaware of what was coming. "Elon," one began, his voice oozing enthusiasm. "It's great to hear from you. How can we assist?" Elon leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "You can start by explaining why the staff at Liberty Plaza treat customers like trash." A stunned silence followed. "Sir, I don't understand," one stammered. "You will," Elon said. He proceeded to recount, in painstaking detail, every encounter he'd had that day. He described the condescension, the outright hostility, and the lack of basic respect. "I walked in as a regular person," Elon continued, his voice rising. "Not as Elon Musk. Not as the man who owns that mall. And what I saw was disgusting." One manager tried to interrupt. "Sir, I assure you, our staff are trained too." "Trained?" Elon snapped. "If that's training, it's a failure. Do you know how many people you've alienated? How many customers will never return because they weren't wearing a designer suit or carrying a luxury bag?" Elon didn't stop there. Over the next several days, he conducted a full investigation. Secret shoppers were deployed, Surveillance footage was reviewed, and anonymous staff interviews were conducted. What emerged was a damning picture. Certain staff members had explicit instructions to prioritize high-value customers. Others admitted they'd been pressured to discourage undesirables from spending too much time in the mall. The culture of exclusivity had seeped into every corner of Liberty Plaza. Elon's fury boiled over during a board meeting. "This stops now," he declared. "If we can send rockets to Mars and build electric cars, we can create a mall where every person feels valued. No exceptions." The changes came swiftly and decisively. Staff members who had been openly discriminatory were terminated. Comprehensive customer service training was implemented, focusing on empathy and respect. A new motto was introduced: "Every customer matters." Elon personally visited the mall again, this time as himself. The atmosphere was markedly different. The staff greeted every person warmly, from a young couple browsing for engagement rings to an older man sipping coffee in the food court. Elon smiled as he watched it all unfold. This was the Liberty Plaza he'd envisioned, a place where luxury wasn't defined by wealth, but by the quality of experience. In a widely publicized press conference, Elon addressed the changes. "When I bought Liberty Plaza, I saw potential. But potential means nothing if it isn't realized. My recent experiences highlighted serious flaws in how we treat people, and I take full responsibility. We're not just fixing the surface, we're transforming the foundation." The media ate it up. Headlines celebrated Elon's bold move. Elon Musk disguises himself to expose inequality. Customers began flocking to the mall, eager to experience the reformed culture. A month later, Elon returned once more, still undercover, but this time as a middle-class shopper. The difference was astonishing. The security guard at the entrance greeted him with a polite nod. The sales associate in the boutique offered assistance without hesitation. At the food court, the cashier handed him his order with a smile. As Elon walked through the mall, he couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. The journey had been challenging, but it was worth it. For the first time, Liberty Plaza truly lived up to its name.